Hi, I'm Che, and you're watching the Permanent Rain Press.
Hi everyone, it's Chloe with the Permanent Rain Press. Today I am happy to be joined by Che. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I know we have a bit of a time difference and it's the
We do
evening where
indeed.
you are, but exciting things happening, of course, with American Idol. And we'll get
Yeah.
into the show in just a moment. But I wanted to start off with your background in the arts and music. What can you share about what sparked that early passion in you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been singing since I was about 6 years old. And I think I can't remember myself, but my dad always used to tell me that he heard something and he liked it, and he kind of honed my skills ever since then. My dad was a singer as well, so he brought me up and he taught me a few basic things about breathing and technique and that kind of thing. And then he gave me a load of artists to go away and listen to. And I did that, and I kind of just learned things along the way. And it felt like for me, it was a very natural process. I felt like this is what I was born to do. So I was just learning more and more each artist I listened to. And then I started performing. I performed at school. And everything from there I just loved it and I wanted to do it forever. So that's what I've been doing. I took music as in college, and I did college for 3 years, uh, and that was a lot of performing and kind of getting over nerves and stuff like that, and writing songs as well. So, and then after that, obviously we went into X Factor, and we done pretty well in that, I think. Uh, but yeah, it's been a good journey, and I'm always open to learning more things and learning new things. But yeah, so far it's been great.
They always say an artist is like never done learning, right? There's always going to be something new to kind of pick up on. Who were those artists that your dad introduced you to when you were young?
Yeah, so the big one was Stevie Wonder, who is still to this day my biggest inspiration, and someone I always take inspiration from if I ever need it or if I'm ever lacking in that area. Donny Hathaway is another one. I just sung a song for you at my Hollywood Arena week. Um, and that's one of my favorite songs ever. Donny Hathaway is one of my favorite artists. Boys to Men, Luther Vandross, all them kind of old school soul and Motown singers I listened to growing up, and I've always taken inspiration from them up until this day.
So that kind of leads into my next question about the, primary artists and genres you're inspired by. Like, how did the artists connect with you? What about their genres really kind of spoke to you and so much so that, so many years down the road, like we'll say 28 years down the road, there's still such key pillars in who you look to for inspiration.
Yeah, I think growing up, I always heard my dad singing around the house, and that's always been kind of where I've got the way I sing come from. And I think it's because it was so ingrained in me because my dad was always singing. I always heard it, and I always tried to copy the things that he done. And when I went away and listened to a few artists like Stevie Wonder and Donny Hathaway and Boys to Men, I could kind of hear where he was getting his inspiration from, and that in turn inspired me. I always wanted to sing like my dad growing up, so to hear what he had in other artists and he'd learned that from them artists as well inspired me to kind of try and do the same thing really. And up until now, like you said, 20 years later, I'm still listening to those same artists and taking inspiration from those same artists.
And there's so much like soul and heart you can feel in their music and their words, and I think that really resonates. In terms of the X Factor, that was in 2015. You were in the show. What was the most valuable lesson you took away from the show and that chapter in your life?
The most valuable lesson, I think I probably learned. I mean, I did learn a lot about my voice while I was on the show, and what I could do with it, and even stuff, techniques to warm up and stuff like that. Because before I never knew much. I was 18 when I went on X Factor, so I was much younger than I am now. But yeah, I kind of took a few things about singing, but most of it were for me life lessons, learning to deal with being in the limelight, gaining loads of followers, and all the social media side of things, and kind of learning how to deal with that and how to cope with that, obviously. There's comments as well, and on social media, and people that say certain things. So it's kind of like the biggest lesson I learned was to deal with all those things. And I think now going into American Idol, I have the experience to kind of know how to do that. So I think that's the biggest lesson I took.
For sure, because it can be a lot being thrown into something like that, this like nationally with this the wide broadcast where a lot of people have their different opinions. But let's talk about, I mean, we'll talk about, of course, American Idol and the heavyweights that you kind of performed for and got to work with. But same with the X Factor. I mean, Simon Cowell, Rita Ora on your season, you got to perform with Rod Stewart in the
Yeah,
finale, which must have been something up there for you.
amazing. Yeah, amazing. That was incredible. I'll never forget that moment. And obviously, of course, I've always got somewhere to go and look back on it on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's so nice to have that moment and to know that I did that with someone as great as that on a stage like that as well. Yeah, it was incredible. And the whole X Factor experience as a whole was great as well. You know, it taught me so much, and part of the reason that I am who I am today.
Your drive, of course, comes from your family. Tell me about your fiance, Brody, your three wonderful young children. How do they motivate and inspire you on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said in my first audition that I've never had a love like I have for my children, and that's something that that's something that's just always been there from the moment I saw their little faces. So, and then Brody is obviously she's on a different level for me. You know, she does everything for me. She's always helping me with everything, um, and I can't really thank her enough because the reason I'm here now, the reason I'm able to do American Idol and all them kind of things are because of the strength that they've given me, and the strength that she gives me as well. You know, she's basically my secretary and my organizer. So without her, it's for pretty much everything in my life. So without her, it really wouldn't be possible for me to be in the position I am now. So I'm incredibly grateful for my family.
And that's always people you look towards, when you celebrate successes. It's a win together and a win as a family. What does a typical day look like for you in Essex?
So a typical day for me in Essex, or I think Brody would probably say being lazy and not doing any housework. But that's not true. No, we do the school run in the morning. We take the kids to school, and then we'll come back and we'll do a bit of tidying up, do a bit of hoovering, and then we'll maybe practice some songs during the day, get ready for whatever's coming up. And then yeah, I mean the evening school run, do some dinner, get the kids to bed. A very standard day for me, and that's if I'm not going to work. If I'm going to work, then I'm normally out for the whole day. If I go to do a wedding or something like that. So
Yeah, we'll talk about your gigs in a bit, but is it a very musical household? Like, are you raising your children to kind of are you singing songs with them, singing them lullabies to sleep, things like
yeah,
that?
yeah, always, always. We've always got music on in the house. They really love "Lose Control" by Teddy Swims. They love that song at the moment, and that's one that anytime they hear it or it comes on, they always join in with the lyrics or have a little dance. And yeah, I'd like to think we're a musical household. Brody's not very musical. I will say that she's probably the least musical out of us all, but that's fine. To have one is all right. But the three kids, yeah, they do love a bit of music. Even my 1 year old boy, he starts dancing when he hears a little bit of music. So I'd like to think we're a very musical household. Yeah.
That's adorable. You've released a few singles over the years as well. Like, how would you describe your songwriting process, and what are you inspired by as a lyricist and storyteller?
Yeah, I would say it's funny because I'm very much a perfectionist. So all of my songs, there's probably bits in them that I don't really like or I'm not happy with or I wish I could redo. And in that sense, I'm very much a perfectionist. But I like going to the studio and hearing a song and kind of just feeling whatever flows in that moment. And that's kind of how I write my lyrics and stuff like that. There is a singer called Terence Trent D'Arby, who's someone that I take. I love his lyrics and the way he writes music. So I take a lot of inspiration from him when I'm writing songs too. He's very poetic in how he writes. So I kind of try and be the same in a way, but I'm not as good as him.
Hey, never say never. I mean, there's always, like you said, you're always growing, and I'm
Yes,
curious,
you're
like
right.
on an everyday basis, like how do you record your thoughts and ideas for songs? Is it something like on a notepad? Is it on your phone that you kind of jot down some notes?
Yeah, so I have voice memos on my phone. I have maybe like, well, I don't know how many I have in there at the moment, but if ever I get a little fault of a melody or a few lyrics that I kind of like or I think I could work on, I'll always just voice memo them in my phone, and I know that they're always going to be there. So that's how I do that.
You released Heaven in 2020, which was written with your late father, Che Chesterman Sr. Can you tell me about the significance behind the song and how it pays tribute to your father and the bond that you shared?
Yeah, of course. So me and my dad actually wrote that song together about my granddad who passed away about 12 or 13 years ago now. So me and my dad wrote that song, and it was kind of a during the process of writing I kind of felt like my dad was letting go of his pain that he'd had during his life that he kind of felt for my granddad. So it was a really great moment. And unfortunately, a couple of weeks after we wrote it, my dad passed away. So the song kind of ended up having a double meaning for my dad and my granddad together. And my dad actually sung in the song as well. So it's great to have that as a something of memories and something to look back on and something to remember as well. That I was able to and lucky enough to record a song with my dad and release a song with my dad that we both written for my granddad. And yeah, it's an incredible piece for me, and obviously to look back on now. My dad is not here anymore as well. It's incredible to look back on.
What do you carry with you from your father?
Well, I think the easier question would be what do I not carry from my father? I'm very much my father's son. I always have been. Even down to the way I tie my shoelaces. Sometimes I think I'm like my dad. So pretty much everything, and musically as well. I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm starting to sound a little bit more like my dad, where my voice is maturing. And I always remember my dad having just a mature voice, because I was obviously when I was a kid. So I feel like my voice is getting to his point now. So yeah, it's very strange, but um, I mean, I used to literally carry stuff around that my dad used to have, and then I realised that I'm so much like my dad that I carry him with me everywhere that I go. Um, so yeah, he obviously meant a lot to me, and he's another reason why I am where I am now, and I've done what I've done in music, and I'll continue to do what I'll do, and I'll always carry him with me.
I love that. And aside from, the love of music, I know you've said before how family was so important to him and family values. So that's something that you're clearly carrying on as well. You are a seasoned performer. What do you enjoy about performing for audiences, and how have you honed your skills in a live setting?
I've always loved performing. The first ever performance I remember was in front of other classmates, and there was about 150 classmates, and I remember feeling so nervous. And but ever since then, I kind of started singing, and I got a good reaction from them, and it felt really nice to because I loved singing at home anyway. So to be able to actually go and perform to people and get a good reaction, it just felt so great. I knew from that moment it's all I wanted to do. And I've always just tried to do that. So once I started doing gigs and weddings and this kind of stuff, it gets to a point where you're a little bit used to it. So the nerves kind of go and you can focus on other things. But at first, it's very nerve wracking to go to someone's wedding and you're performing for the day and you're thinking you don't want to mess anything up. But it's incredible. And the job that I do is I'm so lucky to do what I do as well as a job. Um, it's great and I love it.
You do a lot. I mean, you mentioned weddings, you've done birthdays, with a live band, charity events, just going out and like gigging even at like bars and pubs and that kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite kind of setting to perform in, or is everyone that's just like a treat for you?
Yeah, I mean, I do love performing everywhere I go. No matter how far away it is, no matter how long I have to perform for, I just love singing. But I do love. There's not really a particular place that I love singing, but I do love singing with a live band. That's something that is just the best feeling ever to be with other musicians, and you can kind of create a better vibe with them on stage as well. So singing with a live band is when I think I'm in my element.
We'll get into American Idol now. So before we specifically talk about your journey, who are some of your favorite contestants from past seasons of the show? And is there anyone you've been following in the more recent seasons, of course, airing on ABC?
Yes, so well, past contestants, I could be here for a while. I'm a very big American Idol fan, and so Ruben Studdard is a very early one who I loved. Elliot Yamin is another one who I loved. Joshua Ledet, DeAndre Brackensick, Clark Beckham. I mean, all these guys I've grown up watching really. And again, like when I talked about before, when my dad would give me artists to kind of take stuff from and learn from, these guys that have been contestants on the show, that I've followed their careers and I've learned stuff from them and took stuff from them. So, I mean, to be on the show myself now is such a pinch me moment. But these contestants I love so much, and then more recent contestants, I would say Iam Tongi. He actually followed me on Instagram today, and I was going crazy. So yeah, that was a big moment for me, and he's amazing. I was watching some of his performances last night actually on YouTube. So it's crazy that he followed me today. But yeah, he's one of the recent ones that I really connected with, and I really love. Just every time he opens his mouth, he's so simple but so effective, and his voice is beautiful. So he would be one of the current ones.
I think you manifested that follow by
Yes,
watching some of his
yeah,
performances the
I
other
think
day.
he is incredible. He really is. I mean, there was nothing like, you see all these singers that do all these lovely, amazing things or amazing riffs and runs, and he just can open his mouth and everything that comes out is incredible. I'm a massive fan of him and so lucky that he followed me, and yeah, it was manifested for sure.
How did your idol opportunity arise, and was it always going to be a yes for you?
Um, what? How did it? Oh, yeah. So I received a message on TikTok to see if I would want to audition. So the audition would be via Zoom call, and so it was like a pre-audition before you would go in front of the judges, and they would kind of check you out and see if they like you or not. And after X Factor, I always said that I didn't want to do a TV show again. But when American Idol come about, that opportunity come about, there was no doubt in my mind I was ever going to turn it down. I've watched the show since I was a child with my dad. So to have that opportunity is obviously amazing, and I was never going to say no to that.
I think you posted like a collage of photos and you did like that initial kind of those Zoom performance auditions,
Yeah,
like set up,
yeah,
in your living room on some kind of rack.
correct, correct. That's how it was. Yeah, so we was in the living room. We had the clothes rack. We had the laptop on top of there, and I was standing up, and I done my audition, and yeah, it was a very surreal moment. And then obviously to have the chance to go to New York and perform in front of the judges was incredible. So I'm so grateful to be where I am and to be on the show.
Tell me about your audition day in New York City. Is there anything from behind the scenes that didn't make broadcast that you can share about how that day was for you and getting to perform in front of the judges?
Yeah, I mean that day was amazing for me. New York, I'd never been to before, and it was one of the most incredible places I've ever been to. I think I've done the most steps in one day in New York than I've done anywhere. I just didn't want to stop walking, and I didn't want to stop seeing things. So it was amazing to be there. And in the audition day, I weren't really sure what to expect because I've done X Factor before and I've had that kind of experience. I wasn't sure how different American Idol would be and what to expect, but it was great. It was a really great day. Everything about it was amazing. Behind the scenes stuff, I would say, well, actually, I've done a TikTok dance and it's a little bit embarrassing. So I hope that that never sees the light of day. I hope they never use that footage because it would probably ruin me socially. No one would want to talk to me ever again. um, but yeah, and if my kids saw it as well, I think they'd be a little bit embarrassed. So yeah, there was a TikTok dance. They have got it. So I'm just hoping that they don't post that, if I'm honest. But the day as a whole was incredible. I loved it, and it was like I said, I was a little bit maybe scared of what to expect, but it was incredible, and everyone that works there were incredible as well.
I'm just thinking like the whole social media can be like a love-hate relationship with it. You're
Yeah,
like, gotta
yeah,
use it, but at the same time, you're like, oh, please, hopefully that doesn't make it
exactly
out.
that.
Can you briefly outline your song choices from what we've seen so far? You had your audition, and then during Hollywood Week, there were three separate performances: Idol Arena, Showstoppers, and then Head to Head, which by the time this interview was out would have already aired. So tell me a bit about those songs and what you really wanted to focus on and highlight as an artist.
Yeah, I think songs are very important. Obviously, especially in a competition like this, you have to get it right. And I think maybe in my first audition, I I don't think I got it wrong, but I maybe could have chose a better song for me, because I think that song was just such a stylized song. I sung Mirror by Madison Ryan Ward, and it's such a stylized song. And I just personally don't feel like I did a great job with it. And a song like that, I would want to do a great job with because it's a beautiful song, and I've been such a big fan of Madison Ryan Ward as well. So I felt like I wanted to do a better job with that song, and I didn't. So when the arena round come along, I knew I had to do a song that I could go out there and just have no thought about. I could just sing it how I wanted to sing. And that was A Song for You by Donny Hathaway, a song I've been singing for so many years and I'm so comfortable with. So to have the chance to sing that song was amazing. And I think I've done a decent job that round as well. So I was very happy with that song choice. My showstoppers song was "I Can't Make You Love Me" by Bonnie Raitt. So that was my kind of another slow song, but one that I really love. And there's so many versions of it as well that you can kind of. It's an easy song to do your own version of, and I think that's another thing that's important when it comes to songs, is doing your own version of them and doing them however you can. And then after that, we had Head to Head. So I went head to head with my very good friend Sunny, who is also from the UK, and we sung "Shallow" by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. So yeah, that was it was very interesting to go up against Sunny as well. I mean, we didn't really see it as against, we saw it more with each other as a duet rather than a head to head. But yeah, it was interesting. I think song choices mean so much, especially at this point in the competition, because you're kind of just gaining fans at the moment. And that's the whole point as you go along. But you need to make sure you have the songs that you can have their moments in. So it's a big decision every time a song choice comes around, but they mean so much.
Did you choose that song together or was it given to you?
So we had to choose from a list of songs. So I think there was about 30 songs, maybe a little less than that. But yeah, we had to choose from a list, and it was mayhem. There was only like you could only choose one song twice, or so like everyone was running to get the songs, and songs were running out, so we had to be quick with what one we wanted to pick, and it was absolute mayhem, as you can imagine Hollywood Week would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we managed to get "Shallow" in the end, which I think we was happy with. Um, and maybe the performance didn't go quite as planned, but
There's a little subtleties there. Well,
yeah,
I'm
that's
looking forward to tuning in. I know that it can be very stressful. I'm sure these like competitions, as you know, you mentioned kind of being used to online comments now. So
yes.
in this current run on American Idol, like are you someone who likes to read opinions and commentary, or do you tend to stay away after an episode airs?
Yeah, so I'm happy to read it. Yeah, I'm happy to read it all. I mean, I've like I said, with having the experience of X Factor definitely helps. I can read them now without feeling anything. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel anything when I read it. I'm just there's a lot of good. The good outweigh the bad as well. So there's that. That's a positive. I'm happy reading them. My fiance Brody is definitely not happy reading them, so she tries to stay away from it as much as possible. But I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm happy to read it, and it doesn't really bother me if I'm honest. I think I've read so many comments before. Yeah, it's all the same kind of stuff. It don't really mean anything to me, and I'm very much I know what I'm doing, and I'm very I believe in myself and what I am and who I am. So nothing anyone says can really change that. So I've never really been bothered about that side of it.
That's a great mindset to have. It's like knowing who you are as an artist, right? And just trusting in what you put out there. And that's what's the most important part at the end of the day. How is it bonding with your fellow contestants in California during Hollywood Week? Are there any specific people that you connected with immediately?
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood Week was honestly incredible, and there were times during the week where I thought, like, am I gonna be here? Like, do I really want to do this? Because it was so intense. It was such a pressure cooker. Everyone was so nervous about everything. It was crazy. But I think because of that, a lot of us contestants really bonded, and we was really there for each other. And I think we all understand that it's a competition, and that is what it is. But we don't necessarily have to be competitive with each other in that sense. We just go out there and perform the best that we possibly can. And that's all that we do. But there's been so many bonds created over the course of being here. Obviously, Sonny Tennant, who is from the UK as well, was someone I got really close with, and I actually spoke to him on the phone this morning. Philo is another one that I absolutely love. Colby, Victor. I mean, I could name so many contestants. Honestly, I would be here all day. And we've all kind of kept with each other as well. We've all kept in contact over social media and that kind of thing. And there's a real great bond between the contestants this year. I don't know if it's like that every year for American Idol, but there's certainly there's a beautiful vibe with these contestants. And we've bonded really well. And you know, we always give each other advice and help each other and egg each other on. And I think that's what it's about. You know, there's enough space in the music industry for so many of us that you don't have to be competitive in that sense, and we all help each other. And I think that's how it should be.
And it's like you mentioned, it's the connections that you forge, and these could be your collaborators in the future as
Yeah,
well. Was it intimidating for you at all, during Hollywood Week? I know you mentioned that, you're confident in your performances and at least your abilities, but seeing everyone for the first time, like going like in the Showstoppers Idol arena, how do you manage to take care of yourself and your own well-being?
yeah. I mean, it's really hard. If I'm honest, it is hard because you're you're doing interviews, you're filming stuff, or whatever you need to do, you're doing something. And if you're not doing something, you're waiting to do something. So it's very nerve wracking, especially the times where you're not doing anything. You're just waiting around to do something. You're constantly thinking about your performance, or am I going to forget the lyrics, or am I going to be able to hit this note? And everything's just so nerve wracking. So yeah, I think you just have to get your head down and do the best that you can, really.
Through Idol Arena and Showstoppers, are there any performances from your fellow contestants that really stood out for you? And if so, who and why?
Yeah, arena round Jamal Roberts with his version of Her Heart was just, I can't stop listening to that performance. I thought it was unbelievable. Amanda Baris arena as well was amazing. Sonny Tennant's arena was amazing. I think there are so many real contenders to win the show this year. I think normally when you watch shows like this, there are maybe one, two, or even maybe three sometimes where you think, yeah, I think they might win. But genuinely, I think this year this it's all of the top 24 could possibly win this show. Um, so that, I mean, there's so much talent, and that's what American Idol's always been about for me as well. When I've watched it, it's always been about the talent, and that's always come first. And that's why I've always watched the show and had so much respect for it.
And it's so amazing because there's all these different genres, and like you mentioned, like anyone could win because everyone's just so good at what they
Yeah,
do. And we do know now, like we're getting the gist, you are making the top 24. So of course we know that's Disney's Olani Resort as per
yeah,
usual. How was your experience in Hawaii, minus the competition part, but also what can you tease about your performance?
yeah. I mean, Hawaii was amazing. Like a place I've never been before. It was like a dream. It was literally like I was in a dream, but it was lovely. Yeah, and my performance, I think I could say that up until now, people would have seen me do a lot of slow stuff, and I think for Hawaii and Alani, I have to step it up a little bit. So I'm going to go a little bit up tempo for Hawaii, and you know, being in a beautiful place like that, I want to give a really good performance and an upbeat performance as well. You know, I want people to have a little dance if they can. So yeah, I'm excited for people to see that.
Did you get to bring your family with you to Hawaii?
Unfortunately not. No, no. I was very sad about that, if I'm honest.
Next
Um,
time around?
yeah, next time around, yeah, for sure. But it was a beautiful place, and yeah, I would have loved to have taken them, but not this time.
I'm sure there was a bit of a grueling production schedule for you to follow as well. But
Sure.
returning to reality TV after 10 years, is there anything that surprised you about the Idol production process? Like, how has it been working with this team and the crew behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, quite naturally, I compare my experience to being on X Factor, and uh, my experience with Idol has been nothing short of amazing. When I come off of X Factor, I really didn't want to do anything like that again. I didn't want to go into any bit of TV again or anything like that. But American Idol has been a real shock to the system in the sense that it's been very easy flowing so far. Everything's been so nice. Um, American Idol and everyone that works there really genuinely care about who you are as an artist, the kind of songs that you want to sing, the way you want to come across on television. I mean, there's so much care there, and of course they're doing a TV show, so the whole point of a TV show is to get the ratings and to go viral on social media and stuff like that. But the thing I love about American Idol is they don't, they're right about the way they go about it, and they let you be the artist you want to be, and they let you come across how you want to come across. And I think that that's so important, um, and such a great compliment to them and the people that work there, and how they work as well, because they do it with such love and care. It's not the same as anywhere or anyone else I've worked with before.
And that's so nice to hear. I mean, so many moving parts in a production, but also so many great people to cross paths with. Of course, you have, producers, talent coordinators, vocal coaches, you have the publicists that you work with. So it's nice
Yeah,
to know that your experience has been good so far. Regardless of what happens next in your idol journey, although we hope you do go all the way, what can you
thank
say about your music and what's coming in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think after American Idol was done, I want to hit the ground running. I want to take advantage of the whole experience and the whole opportunity. And something that I really feel I didn't do after X Factor was hit the ground running. I didn't come out of X Factor and do what I needed to do. I should have been releasing music and I should have been out there doing all I could, but I didn't. So, I mean, now I've got the experience and I think I've learned my lesson. So I want to come out of American Idol. I want to write songs. I want to release songs. And I want to do whatever I can do. And that's the whole point. Learning your lessons. So I think this time I need to come out and hit the ground running and release some songs.
How have your hometown and community supported you, and what can you say about the fans that have followed your career since the X Factor?
Yeah, everyone has been so amazing ever since I announced that I was going to be auditioning for American Idol. Everyone has been absolutely behind me. So it's been an amazing experience. And obviously, after 10 years of not doing anything like this, to be in this position now is crazy. And I didn't have any children back then. So it's a whole different experience. And everyone has really got on board and they've been amazing. And like I said, even though there's been a few horrible comments here and there, the good really have outweighed the bad in a big way. So I'm really happy about that. And everyone has had my back, thank God.
I know you were on BBC Essex as well to kind of promote the show and your audition. So it's so
Yeah,
nice to see, the local kind of community radio stations rally behind you. Couple
for
more
sure.
questions for you. What advice do you have for aspiring singers hoping to make art and music their career?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. I mean, it's so cliche because so many things must say it, but being yourself is so important. And also, what I was saying before as well about knowing yourself and knowing who you are is so important. And you can't really do anything else until you do that, until you know who you are and what you want and what you are. You can't really do anything else. And music is so much more. And the music industry is so much more than just about singing or having a good voice. There's so much more to it than that. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared to learn new things about life as well as music. So yeah, and that's all I try and do. I take each day as I can and don't put too much pressure on myself.
I think you're doing a wonderful job so far, and it's so nice to be introduced to you and your music through American Idol. Our signature question for you, if you could be any ice
Oh,
cream flavor, which would you be and why?
okay, I've been struggling with this one. This has been a struggle. What do you reckon, babe? I reckon I would be a strawberries and cream. Why are you laughing? She's laughing at me. I'd be a strawberries and cream because, well, strawberries, red is my favourite colour, and cream, well, I don't really know why cream actually. I'd have strawberries and cream, and I'd have peanuts on it. I bet you've never heard that one before.
Definitely not, but I love the topping add-on, and it does feel very like English to be fair, like strawberries and cream. I
Is
know
it
that's
English?
like
Oh, no.
I
Okay,
like
let me.
the answer, and I love that Brody's laughing at
Yeah,
you from behind. You can
yeah,
think
she does.
that's such a good way to end things off, though. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me, and I
No,
can't wait to follow the rest of your journey. Until then, for all those watching, make sure to watch Che on American Idol, which is currently airing Sundays and Mondays on City TV in Canada, and of course on ABC. And
yeah.
we will see you next time.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.